bidding is bidding is one of the most delicate and important and stress-inducing and maddening and just incredibly bizarre things you'll ever do in this business. One of the realities is that we think we know what they're looking for. We hope we know what they're looking for. We absolutely know in the pit of our gut that we don't know what they're looking for. So we're trying to guess at it all the time. It's as a person who sat on the other side of the desk, I sat as a creative director. I can tell you how weird it is to get quotes in from photographers, because we would normally bid 3 or 4 photographers for a job. My clients at the time, PeopleSoft, WebMD, those folks, they insisted on we had to get 3 bids. And once we got a bid that ranged between $75,000 and $250,000, with the mid guy coming in at about $116,000. Same job, same specs. I have gotten product shots done for my clients for $50, and I've paid $5,000 for the same product shot. So photographers have absolutely no idea what they're doing. Clients have absolutely no idea what they're doing. There's no set value in the industry for anything. And so it becomes a crapshoot. But I do think that there are ways that we can bid smart and bid with professionalism that helps them, the client, understand our professionalism and why we bid the numbers we bid. We're going to talk about the physical bid itself. Now, the bid, when you make it, says so much more about your business than you think it does, that you have to keep in mind every little thing. By the way, I promise, Mike and Michael and Mordecai and Keith and all you guys, I promise I am not going to sit here and read you the keynotes. I'm going to expect that all of you can read English and are doing okay with that, okay? We're just not going to do that. But what you can do is, for instance, if a client calls you and you send them a bid with one number, they call you with the job and you send them, oh, I can do it for $2,500. That's about as professional as getting a bid from the guy who makes corn dogs. That's not how this is done. And so your professionalism is shot. If I get a bid from you that's sort of a, cocktail napkin thing, or, an email with things in the body of the email and nothing else, no rights or anything, I know you're not professional. So from the presentation to what you bid and how you bid, it's really important to be professional. We're going to start right at the beginning. You should have a price list. If I come to you and say, hey, how much would it cost for me to get this thing done? You know what the first thing that goes through your mind is? Well, how much are you willing to pay? Now, you don't say that, obviously, because that would be rude. But that's what you say to yourself. Well, how much would you pay? And in reality, you then go into this stress thing of like, sure, I wonder if I say this, it's too high. If I say this, it's too low. What if I leave money on the table? What if he thinks I'm an idiot? Whatever. All that goes away. All of it goes away when you have a basic price list. You don't have to share it with me. Just have a price list. So, Mike, how much does 5 shots of model cars cost for a brochure? And you go, well, that's probably right here on my price list. That's $500. Okay, and then you price it out. If it's anything more than what exists on your price list, now for Mike, that would be a $200 setup fee and $75 per pop for the 5 shots. It comes to, I don't know, like 6 1/4, 5 1/4, whatever it is. But that's in his price list. You don't have to make it up. You're not throwing darts. So knowing a little bit about what you're doing. So helps that you know what it's going to take to do a headshot. You know the time factor for a headshot, for instance. Headshot's going to take about an hour. A drop and pop's going to take about 15 minutes. Grip and grins, those are what you call when you go and take a picture of the mayor giving a check to somebody. I don't like to do those kinds of jobs, but some people have demographics that says they should do those kinds of jobs. That should be a rate that you know right off the top of your head and you can justify. It will make your life easier and make your client's life easier. Hell, if it's a client you're doing a lot of work for, send them your price sheet so they know. What's your hourly rate? Someone comes in and says, I want to hire you for 4 hours. What's your hourly rate? Well, I have a minimum rate. I have, for me, I'm not going to go out and do anything for under $350. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not interested in $50 headshots. I'm not interested in $200 popping drops. I'm just not. It's $350 or, I've got other things to do. Events, do you do grip and grins, PR, meetings, seminars, tournaments? These are the things that go on hourly. We need you for 4 hours. You got hourly plus additional. Hourly is just the time, but what if they want prints? What if they want a slideshow afterwards? Well, this is the kind of stuff that it's best to kind of work out now if you're not already working, but if you're already working, take a weekend, and it might take you a couple hours to really figure this out. What are you going to charge so that when someone says, we need you to shoot all the guys coming off the 18th green for this tournament, and we need the shots to be done. We need them in a slideshow 4 hours later at dinner, and we need 5x7 prints. What's the price of that? Well, if you haven't figured this out in advance, you're going to spend the next 3 hours like calling up Costco and Walmart and finding how much prints are. How fast can this company turn it around? Can you get somebody to do a slideshow? This is the kind of stuff that's in your future. Get the pricing now. You will be more successful. A drop and pop is a thing. It's like a pair of glasses, and you put it on generally white seamless or black seamless, or maybe chartreuse seamless, whatever they want. But you put it down and you take a picture of it. You've got your lights set for a single shot. So you put this glasses down and shoot it. You put another pair of glasses down and shoot it. You put another pair of glasses. These are not $5,000 shots. They're not. They're pop and drops. They're inexpensive shots for the client. Their needs are not the same as a hero shot for an ad. And usually they're in larger volumes. So you're going to get, hey, how much for 50 pair of glasses? Okay. A number of years ago, a photographer came to me. He was very upset. Very upset. He had a client wanting to do over 6,000 items for a new online store, 6,000 items. And this guy wanted to charge him $50 a piece. I'm not going to do the math for you, but do the math. 6,000 times $50 is a heck of a lot of money. Think about it. And all they were things like a pen, a flash card, a pair of goofy glasses. They're drop-in pops. This guy was willing to pay $6 a piece. This photographer's like, I don't do anything for $6 a piece. Well, run the math on 6 times 6, that's 36, times the dollars, times whatever, that's $360,000 or something like that. What does that come to, Mike?
36,000.
36,000. He could have hired a photographer to come work in his studio for $5,000 and made $31,000 while he was fishing. Can you imagine a college student going, wow, I get to work, could have shot the whole thing in a week. It'd be easy to shoot it in a week. It'd be boring. You'd want to slit your wrists, but still you could do it in a week. A college kid makes, or 2 weeks if you want to. College kid makes $5,000 in 2 weeks, and my photographer friend makes 31 grand while he's doing something else. But see, photographers don't think that way, and it's really unfortunate. And it's the cowboy mentality of photographers gets in the way. If you price by the item, you have to figure out how much time it's going to take. So 50 drop and pop eyeglasses are going to take less time than 50 drop and pop ottomans, which are less than 50 drop and pop microwaves. You know, there's everything's gonna, you got to kind of figure out what that thing is and figure out how to make it work for you and get it in advance so that you can speak quickly to it. Headshots PR, we get a lot of requests for that. You always getting questions for a quote. Why mumble around? Why go into the, oh, I don't know, let me see, blah blah. Well, you know, quote it. Headshots $150. Headshots $250. PR shots of $300. That's my minimum bid is $300. I think that should cover it. Boom, you're pro. Because if you call up the people that you want to have come to your company and bring coffee in the morning, or they come and do the coffee things, Mr. Coffee or whatever. I don't even know if they do that. We used to have a coffee service back in the agency days. It was always full of coffee. They always came. We had a company that did flowers for our office and everything. But, you know, you don't call up Mr. Coffee and they don't go, I don't know, what's your budget? You know, they go, well, 5 pots is $50 a week or whatever it came to. They know that's professional. Keep the price list in a quick place to access it. Print it up, PDF it, put it, laminate it, stick it on the wall, whatever you want to do. Stick it in your phone if you have to, so that you can refer back to that price list. And by the way, if it's printed, did you know that psychologically it carries more importance with your buyer than if you're just coming up off the top of your head? Psychologically, it's like, well, this is the number. See, it's printed out here. So some people say you shouldn't put your price list on your website. I say, why not? Why not put it on the website? If someone's really looking to get $20 head sheets, maybe it'll save me a lousy phone call. They look and see, well, this guy doesn't do $20 headshots. Now we get into the really scary stuff, a more complex bid. And if you've done all your research and got your numbers in order before you get to here, it's easier. But if you haven't, it can be really, really terrifying. Really terrifying. You're always getting asked to do headshots or drop and pops or what have you. And then all of a sudden the client calls and he's got 15 shots on locations, 3 different locations. And by the way, you need an aerial shot, 2 product shots. Can you shoot late at night? They want to catch the lights of the city. And it gets daunting. Don't panic. Even though she's pretty cute when she panics. That's important. So here's some overall rates. Hey, baby. Here's some overall rates. This came from Rosh Sillers, a photographer in Detroit, who every year does a really, really good blog post called How Much Should Photographers Charge? And he does this from research, talking to photographers all over the country. When you get the PDF, this link should be live. If you don't, just write down the name Rosh Sillers, ARS Sillers, and just do Rosh Sillers charge in 2019 on Google, and it'll come right up to the top. A professional is getting between $75 to $300 per hour and between $75 and $375 per image. Now, what is a professional? Somebody who's getting paid for a photograph, I suppose. I'm here in Phoenix. I think $300 an hour is probably a little high for Phoenix for hiring a per hour photographer. 75 is ridiculously low. Somewhere between probably 150 to 175 would be a Phoenix rate. Then you got the $75 to $375 per image. that would work here in Phoenix. That's you know, $375 per image is pretty much what I charge, and I'm not the highest priced guy in town, but I'm not the cheapest guy in town either. Then we got the top professionals, and I don't know what a top professional is. Rosh admits he doesn't either, but we know who we're talking about. They're the names that are getting, you know, the big clients, the Nikes and the Adidas shoes and stuff like that. Large brands who spend lots and lots of money. The $300 to $2,000 per image is really, it's really not a cap. We hired a photographer back in 1999 to do a shoot for us, and he charged us $250,000 for a single shot. So ad shots can go for tremendous amounts of money. But I think Rosh is talking here about photographers who do like brochures or whatever in small markets. In New York, you could triple or 4 times this. In Omaha, this would probably be fairly high, you know. Of course, you can live pretty well in Omaha on $75,000 a year. And if you want to have that same lifestyle in New York, it'd run you right around 2.25. So things aren't the same. Rights. Here's the big question. We see it all the time. I see it on, I used to see this, I even copied it down. I photographed it. I was on a forum. This lady was, she's a new photographer. She's been shooting for a year, and her mom wanted some pictures of the baby, and she wanted to know what kind of rights she should give her mom. Yeah, that's a sickness that grows inside us. Rights, well, some people understand rights and some people don't. If you're dealing with mom and pop who have a bed and breakfast, they're used to buying that bed and doing whatever they want to. They can buy a set of shelves and paint them if they want. They can buy silverware and throw it out if they want. But now you're telling them that you're going to come and make a photograph, the same thing they can take on their little Google phone, but they don't own it. You do. And you're going to rent it to them for only a year. Actually, you're not, because you're not going to get the job. You're not going to get the job. They're going to like, what are you talking about? Now, you can say, well, maybe we should educate our clients. Really? I don't have time. I'm not in the educating mom and pop B&B owners business. Yeah, great, you can have it. I make it a big deal though. I put it, I line item it in there. It's like, you know, usage rights, blah, blah, blah. You have unconditional forever rights. I use legal terms, but you've got it. You can do whatever you want with this picture. I don't care. Because chances are I want to get the more shots that they do from them. Whenever you're dealing with a client and you put up roadblocks to that client, you're going to have a problem. Okay? Now, if you're dealing with larger clients like ad agencies and TV stations and magazines and promo sites and PR firms, they sure as hell know what copyright is, because they copyright their stuff. And they do know what rights are, and limited rights, and rights that belong to a time frame, because they do that to theirs. So, you know, pick your battles, pick them wisely, and fight the battles that you think are worth fighting. For me, fighting a restaurant for, you know, rights to pictures I took of their rubber chicken is just not worth it to me. They charge them $400 for the photograph and give it to them. Good for them. Because chances are they're going to add meatloaf next month, and I want to get that shot. Okay. Weigh the rights issues against the probable additional use of the image. I can't say it any clearer than it's right there on the slide. What do you care if they use it on their Instagram and it's a small mom and pop business? Managed rights is getting so hard to do that a number of Phoenix ad agencies a good number of Phoenix ad agencies have all decided that if you shoot for them, it's a buyout. They're tired of playing the game. And in many ways, you can't blame them. Back in the day, you had brochures, magazine ads, television. If you shot a picture for an ad agency in 1982, it was going to be in a brochure, as an ad in a magazine, or on television. And now we add Facebook and Instagram and Snap and LinkedIn and blogs. And so keeping track of that image, let's say Greg goes and does an image for Bob's ad agency, and Greg says, okay, well, you've got these rights, 5,000 impressions, whatever. And then the client says, wow, Bob, I love this. My daughter's going to put it on her Instagram, and she's got a whole lot of followers, and it gets shared. And then Greg shows up going, hey, I saw it on Instagram and it got a lot of shares, and so I need more money. They're going, no, we don't even have the manpower to track the use of these images once they leave our studio. And the ad agencies want to be fair and they want to be legal. They simply can't. They give the photographs to the client, and the client's like, oh, okay. And then they're off to the races. That's life. Learn, like I say, to fight the battles that make it worth it. Be really open and upfront. Tell them why. Tell them, for instance, we had a magazine here they said, well, if you shoot for us, we get the copyright. And I said, no. And they said, well, we can get another photographer. And I said, I totally understand. And you certainly can. And you probably find somebody out there that'll do that, but I won't do that. And I'll tell you why. You don't need the copyright. You need unlimited rights. Because they were all concerned that if they did a best of magazine, that they'd have to hunt me down and pay me again. No. But if I go up to this particular case, was I had to go out of town to shoot something all by myself, no art director, nobody over my shoulder. Whatever I did, that was mine. That was my brain, my IP, my intellectual property, me. It's mine. I keep the copyright. If you want to use it in your magazine, you pay me. That's fine. We can deal with rights and all those things some other way, but that's mine. But I've often been fascinated by photographers who are working in a studio and they have an art director and a stylist and a wardrobe stylist and a makeup artist and a model. But when they click the picture, it's theirs. And I'm a photographer, you know that, and I fight for photographers' rights, but I've always thought, really, what about the makeup artist? What about the wardrobe stylist who knocked her ass out and created something worth shooting? They don't have a piece of this pie? Fair's fair, and sometimes we're not. The line item approach, very important. Line item version 1. A line item gives you the ability to negotiate separate from your fee. What I mean by that is you want to know how much you're going to make. Keith goes and does a bid. Keith wants to know at the end of the day, after everything's paid, Keith's going to make $2,000. So Keith puts on the line item fee, $2,000. Now we've got a lot of other things on there, like catering for the staff. We've got models. We have travel. We have weather days. We have 15 items, line items of costs that are going to be incurred by this photograph. And maybe we put $100 for catering, and the client goes, can we just do McDonald's? And you go, yeah, great, okay, $40 for catering. So you came down $60. You can do that if you've got line items. If you quote them $4,200 because that's what you've figured your models and everything's going to cost, and they go, that's too high. What do you do then? What do you do then? Go, oh, okay, can we try 38? How about 37? 37 going once, 37 going twice, 36. That's not how it works. You don't do that. It's unprofessional. So here's a simple line item bid for a $5,000 job. assistant, these are real numbers, $300 a day, 2 days, equipment rental, $500, travel for photographer, boom, travel assistant, gas for the vehicle, food, hotel, scouting, digital storage, blah, 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 on and on. All of these are negotiable right here. Usage fees negotiable, miscellaneous, scouting, maybe we can find a cheaper scout, but these are the numbers these are negotiable. This one up here, we don't touch that one. That's my fee. That's not negotiable. I gave you the best fee I could give you, because if we change that, if we're like going, okay, yeah, well, I'll shoot it for $3,000 then my question as a buyer would be, then what the hell was the 5,000 number for? If you'll shoot it for 3,000, why did you quote me 5,000? Why didn't you just quote me 3,000? I'm sorry, I don't want to be made a fool of. Did you, if I paid the 5,000, would you walk away going, hey, got $2K over what the damn job was worth? Don't play me for a fool. Give me your best rate here. Give me your numbers here. It works. Never touch your fee. Never touch your fee. Unless they change the shot. So if they go, okay, well, we're going to do it in 2 days instead of 3 days. Okay, then cut your fee because it's a different shoot now. But if you're going to end up with the same thing at the end, you make sure that you never touch your fee, because then you become, believe me, no matter what you do in the next time, they're going to want you to cut your fee. And the time after that, they're going to want you to cut your fee. So don't ever let a client badger you down. Just don't. And I know it sounds like, well, that's easy for you to say, Don. You're doing a webinar. We're hardworking photographers and we need to make the money. Yeah, you do. But let me tell you, the names that you know in this business, the names you know, the big names, I'm not going to mention them, but you know who I'm talking about. The big names, they didn't get bullied down on their price. The people we don't know, we never hear of them, they get bullied down on their price. There are art photographers out there. They're art photographers because they say, I'm an art photographer. There's a woman who shoots surfers on tintype, and I want one of her prints so badly. I would love to have one of her prints, but her prints are $3,500. Why are they $3,500? Because she says so. That's it. She says so. And you don't call her up and go, well, could you do one for $700? No, they're $3,500. And guess what? That makes other people understand the value. Using a per shot basis for the bid, a client knows what their numbers are going to be. This is better than ours. I like this so much better than ours. 12 still life shots for a high-end brochure. I get all the information. I always want to ask for an example of the shoot, by the way, as detailed a description of what they want to shoot as possible. Because in their mind, they're seeing some big, highly produced shot, and I'm seeing, white paper. That's sometimes the disconnect. We don't want that disconnect. Make them tell you what they want. Make them show you a storyboard or a Pinterest screen or something. They believe me, they have in their mind, they have exactly what they're talking about. They know what they want. And it's probably not what you're thinking. You got to get on the same page. Once you figure out what they want, you figure out how much time each image is going to take. So let's say we had 12 images. We figure about an hour per image. Might be able to finish it in 2 days. At $250 an hour, is 2 6-hour days totaling $1,500. Same if we price it per image. And we want to make sure that we get that $1,500. Now, these numbers are not put out there for you to go, oh, that's what I should charge to do 12 product shots. This is, some of you charge half that, some of you charge twice that. The problem with hourly rates is, let's say it only takes us 40 minutes per image. because we are good at what we do. Now the client's going, oh, well, hey, it didn't take 2 days, it only took a day and a half a morning, so why am I going to pay you $1,500? So you just got penalized for being good at what you do. Or you go, well, God, this is only going to take 30 minutes per shot. We will stretch it. We'll stretch a shot out to an hour per shot. That's not professional. So per shot is great. The client knows what he or she is going to pay. They know it's going to be $1,500. They can pre-write the check if they want. And you know you're going to get $1,500. And all you have to do then is to get great images. Doesn't matter how long it takes you. You just get the images. It also stops that wonderful thing that you're going to hear so often. You're going to hear it. Well, since you've got your camera out and I'm hiring you by the hour, we're going to get our CEO and our CFO and our CMO in here and you can do a couple of headshots over there because I've bought your time. Nope, not with per item bidding. Nope. Yeah, I'm happy to shoot the CFO, the CMO, and the CEO. Absolutely. That's $250 per image. Tag it right on there. And then you have in your photo bag, in your briefcase, or wherever you want to have it, you have a change of work order. A change of work order means it says basically, we started to do 12 images, and this is at $250 an image or whatever we came, and now you've added 3 more. Change this. We're going to add $750 to this, or maybe you go, okay, well, I'll do it for $500. You bring them over. I'll do it for $100. I don't care. But you bring out and they sign it. You'll be surprised at how many times you pull the change of work order out, and all of a sudden those pictures that they really wanted so bad don't mean anything because they don't want to pay any more money. But believe me, everybody they deal with has a change of work order. They're getting a room remodeled. There's a change of work order. They go, oh, you know what? We decided to have 2 closets over there. Well, the construction guys don't go, oh, no problem. I'll just throw it in. They change the job. You want to be at least as professional as the people who bring the bottled water. They've got change of work orders. They have rates. They have contracts, and they get paid in 30 days. So cool when that happens. The value of the image is what I talk about when I talk about what an image costs. What's the value of the image? And the value of the image is what you put on it, what you say it is. I mean, when you think about it, an image on a flash card, an image on a flash card is not worth a damn thing. A photograph, an Ansel Adams photograph, is worth what? $16 for a piece of paper purchased in 1968? Maybe $12 and $1 worth of chemistry. Is that how we're going to look at it? That's not how I look at it. That's not how you should look at it. It derives its value from what it's going to do for the client. It derives its value by how important it is to the client and to you. If you're an art photographer, how important is that picture? Pro tip, number them, keep the number low, sign them, and get certificates made. All of a sudden, they're more valuable. Trust me. If you're new, there's a tendency for new photographers to go, I'm only going to charge them $1,000 for this shoot, even though it's worth $3,000 because I'm new. Okay, you're new. What the hell difference does that have to the image that you make? That is an uncorrelatable thing. I don't even know if that's a word, but if it was a word, I would use it a lot. It has nothing to do with each other. The image is either good enough for them to use or it's not. If it's good enough for them to use, they should pay the rate of the value of the image. I don't care if you're new. I don't care if you're experienced. If you're a big name, believe me, you're going to add more zeros onto it because you're a big name. The value of the image is in direct proportion to the value you place on it and the value they place on it. Don't get cheated out. You've done the research, really important research. You found out what the rates are in your town. If you want to be in the middle, wherever you're comfortable, that's fine. There was a guy who wrote a book a number of years ago, 20 years ago. One of the best books I ever read. It was called The Art of the Deal. I don't know whatever happened to that guy. I think he got into politics, but it was by Donald Trump, and it was one of the most important books I ever read because he basically said something I still remember seeing it on the page. If you are not prepared to walk away, then you're not in a negotiation. You're just begging for money. A deal is, I have this amount of money and I need to buy this amount of stuff. Can you sell it? If you're going, well, that's just not enough money, and you're going, Bob, I'm sorry, that's not enough. Hey, it's been good. I hope you find somebody that you can sell your stuff to for that amount of money, or purchase whatever you need at that amount of money, but I have to walk away from the deal. And you put your hand out and you mean it sincerely that you can't make that deal. Only then can you make a deal. Because if you're like, oh God, it's only 30% of what we wanted, but we need the money so bad. Well, then you should have just walked in and said, well, how much are you willing to pay us? Because you're not making a deal anymore. If you have to walk away, be okay with it and be friendly about it. And the other thing that drives photographers crazy is that leaving the money on the table. I've never understood that. It's like, oh, crap. I could have gotten $3,000 for this job. Well, yeah, I guess you could have. You bid $2,000 and they said, okay. And then you find out later they had a budget of $3,000. I left $1,000 on the table. No, you didn't. You were happy with the $2,000, right? You were ready to walk if they offered you $1,800, but you wanted $2,000. They gave you $2,000. You're happy. They're happy. Money left on the table is just bullshit. Who cares? Why would you worry about that? You were happy with the 2K. If you weren't happy with the 2K, you should have walked away. So there's no thing in the middle there. Walk away or be super happy you got what you asked. Be competitive, not stupid. I know that's hard for a lot of folks. But discounts of 10 to 20%, now that's competitive. Doing shit at half price, that's not competitive. That's stupid. That's just insane. So, get yourself in there at 10%. I think even 20% is ridiculous, but it's still a deal. But get in there and get the job. But if you start cutting rates by 50%, you're not just hurting the business. And some people might say, well, so what? That's it's not my business. I'm doing for me. Yeah, but you just screwed yourself. If you bid the job at half the price, if you bid a $1,000 job at $500, and they come back to you next month, and now you go, well, I need to raise my rates to $750. They're going to want to know why you come up with $250 more. What are you, gouging them? Last month you only charged $500. Now you want $750? That's insane. They'll go back to the guy they were paying $1,000 for before they'll pay you that $750. That's just people. Working with magazines, not quite what people think. First of all, magazines have budgets. The art department has a budget that they can spend. This is not open-ended where ad agencies can go to the client and the client can go to the chief financial officer. And if they need another $30K, they can get another $30K. This is a magazine. They've got a fixed budget. Art department gets $10,000 for art this issue. It's up to them to allocate it where they want, which is why when you pick up some magazines like Southwest Airlines magazine, you're going to see 4 editorials in there, one of which is going to have the worst, crappiest stock photos you've ever seen. There's going to be another one that's going to have mediocre stock photographs. Then there's going to be a pretty darn good one, and then there's going to be a top of the road editorial. I mean, uh, I've seen Dave Hill in there. I've seen Chris Callis in there. Big names, because they use their budget. They use, we'll spend a little bit on this, a little bit on that, a little more on this, and then boom, we've got $5,000 to hire Dave Hill to do this cool thing because we want to have really cool images for this main editorial. What that means is when a magazine contacts you, they're probably not going to ask you for a bid. They're going to tell you how much they're going to pay you. You can, however, do a little bit of negotiation. There's always some wiggle room for assistance. If you have to go out of town, maybe you can get some expenses for that, what have you. But they're going to tell you pretty much flat out what it costs. I don't want you to make the mistake of having a magazine contact you and have you start playing the negotiation game, because they're going to go, oh, obviously you've never shot for a magazine before and you don't look professional anymore. They have their rates. They'll let you know what it's going to be. I really believe that presentation, physical presentation, is a big part of our world. Make sure your bids look good. Answer questions. If you're in the visual arts, folks, your bid should look good. Maybe you have a designer design one for you, or you can go over to creativemarket.com or what's it called? I can't think of it, the Envato one. Anyway, Envato has one too, where you can buy templates. You can buy beautifully designed, well typographied templates that run in InDesign or Word or what have you, so that your design looks really nice. It should, because this is the thing. This bid is that thing between you and the client that it's very important. It should be computer based, I think, because these days everything is. It probably should be able to be worked on your phone, but what have you. If you're going to use email, really make sure that you know how to set up a very clean email. And there's ways to do that. You can actually embed tables in email and things like that. When you're done with bids, if you didn't get the bid, mark it and put it in the I didn't get this bid file, little manila file. I didn't get this bid. Because you're going to ask them why you didn't get it. You're going to say, okay, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, but I noticed I didn't get the job. And I was just wondering what you could help me with my bidding process to make sure that I get it next time. And you know what you're going to find out mostly? You're going to find out mostly that it didn't have anything to do with your price. We go into it thinking that everything in this business is because of price. And then if you're on social media, you hear these people going, oh, everybody wants me to do it for free. They whine, they go, everybody wants me to do it for free. Let me give you a worse scenario. Nobody wants you to do anything. See, if people want you doing it for free, at least they want you to do something. At least they think you're a photographer that they should be working with. If they don't even ask you to do it for free, you might want to up your game a little bit. If no one's asking for free pictures, push your game. Push your game. Gonna have to get it up. Doesn't mean you have to do free pictures. Just think of the alternative. The alternative is pretty bleak. Nobody wants your photographs. BlinkBid is an online bidding tool that'll help you out, and they have suggestions and they have regions, average regional bidding, etc., and they produce a very nice, pretty bid. PhotoBiz's quote is very nice. It's attractive. It looks good. It prints well and it emails well. Has all your line items and has all of your legal stuff over here. Your legal stuff is your contract. Your bid is your contract these days. So you're not going to bid a job and then go and say, okay, well, now I have a contract. The scary thing is sometimes you'll bid the job and then they'll have a contract. And you got to be very careful with that. I would say to them, well, my bid had all of this information on it. I'm not going to say that you should or should not sign their contract. I'm not going to make that business decision for you. I'm going to tell you to look real hard at their contract and find out why they need you to sign it. It may be as simple as corporate demands you sign a contract and it's basically the same as yours, down to they're trying to get something from you that you weren't willing to give. So be very, very careful with it. Here's a dirty little secret. Most people are honest. Most people are just flat out honest. They're not trying to screw you. So find out what it is. You might be surprised. Find out where you fell short so you can help build your next bid better. Always ask. Never feel embarrassed. You're probably going to find out the client kind of wanted to go with so-and-so because of, and then fill in the blank. It's famous, or his cousin knows him, or whatever. But rarely are you going to find out it's because you were too high. Happens. You may actually find out, as some photographers I know have found out, that they bid too low. We bid a job at Ocean to a very extensive job with a good deal of Photoshop, and we called in 3 photographers and we got 3 bids back. One bid was $5,000, one bid was $4,800, and the other bid was $900. And I looked at it and I goes, there's no way this guy can do this job for $900. I mean, there's just literally no way he could do the job for $900. And so he didn't get the job. And when he called me and asked me, I said, you bid $900. He says, I know, I just really wanted to do it. I didn't care if I made any money at it. And I said, well, you should have told me that, because we still wouldn't have hired you. Anybody know why I wouldn't have hired the guy who just wanted to do it, didn't care if he made any money at it?
He puts no value on his own work.
Exactly. He thinks his work's worth $0. Hey, guess what? Okay. We don't need somebody who thinks their work's worth $0. We got a client worth paying for, which is why I never hire assistants to go, I won't charge you. I just want to come and watch. Yeah, no, I want somebody. Obviously, you don't know how much work there is. Obviously, you're not attuned to how freaking lazy I am and how I don't want to carry one damn thing to the car. You don't carry it all. It's a numbers game, folks. Bid on as many jobs as you possibly can. Every job you bid gets you closer to an accepted bid. Every one. If you're bidding 5 jobs a month, triple that. And I don't care if they're little jobs or mediocre jobs, drop and pop jobs, bid them, bid them, bid them. And if you're not getting people, clients to bid, find out why that is. And now for 1.5 minute, I'm going to give you my little plug. I have a class on the internet called Find Photo Clients Now. It is a systemized approach to how to find clients. And I don't care where you are. I don't care what your region is. If you do this system, you will find clients. I can honestly say it's never failed. It never will fail. A couple things are, you got to be upfront about it. Yes, you've got to be a good photographer. Yes, you've got to be a good human being. I mean, if you're a jerk and you can't shoot, you're probably not going to get a job anywhere. But if you've got a good portfolio and you're ready to work, you follow this system and you'll get work. And has anyone on this taken that class yet? Anyone here taken it?
I'm going through it right now.
Okay, what do you think of it, Keith?
It's good. I mean, it's just like on you're asking a lot of really important questions at the beginning about why you want to do this and how far you're willing to go to make sure that this happens.
Yeah. That's an important question.
Right.
Some people say, well, what are you willing to do to be a photographer? My question is, what are you willing to not do to be a photographer? Because that list of stuff you're not going to do, that's some serious stuff. What are you not going to do? you may say, well, I'm not going to play in the Little League this year. I'm not going to sit and binge watch Netflix this year. What are you going to give up? Because you have to give up something. I love that line from the movie with Nicolas Cage when he stole the Declaration of Independence. He says, well, I don't want to go to jail. The FBI says, well, somebody's got to go to jail. Yeah, something has to give. I mean, there's all kinds of, I'll work long hours. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. Yeah, that's great. That's a given, by the way. We already know you're going to do that, but what are you going to give up? Important stuff. The class is available at findphotoclientsnow.com, and I think it's pretty powerful. I know it's pretty powerful, and I know that the people who apply these techniques win. So I'm not guaranteeing you that you're going to make thousands of dollars or, have 50,000 Instagram followers or any of that crap. This is a good system for finding clients, developing a solid portfolio, and getting those clients to hire you. I think for a lot of photographers in smaller markets, I think photography is going to end up being a nice side hustle. Anybody agree with that or disagree? I think it's going to be a side hustle for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people who are in the creative arts are going to find that almost everything they do becomes a side hustle. Multiple streams of income is the future. And if you can stack up your talents, if you're a good photographer and a pretty good web designer, that's a killer combination. If you're a good photographer and you can write pretty well, that's a killer combination. And so all of a sudden you've got these other things that are coming into play. So it's pretty exciting. All right. Well, that's my little presentation on bidding like a pro. I'm glad you guys came. I will open it up to questions.
If I missed this or not, but where does one look for companies putting these bids out, looking for bids?
Best thing to do is to do the research in your area, Greg. And you've got access to Find Photo Clients Now, right?
Yes.
Yep. Get in there, and it's basically you create your channels. And when you create your channels, then you create your specifics, and you're gonna see them. It's you. Let's quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but that's a good question. So let's say, what kind of photography do you do? That's the first question you have to ask. And then you have to say, well, okay, the kind of photography that I do, what genre, what general use thing uses my kind of photography? Let's choose one. Food. Let's say you're a food photographer. Well, who uses pictures of food? Well, our first answer is restaurants. Well, yeah, okay, great, restaurants. Everybody knows restaurants. And so the competition is crazy. The pricing is in the toilet. Restaurants. Who else? Okay, hotels, spas, nutritionists, physicians, hospitals, insurance companies, people who make utensils, people who make food, people who repackage, people who distribute food, retail or wholesale food suppliers. Well, shit, that's a whole bunch of different businesses, right? So now that's your now you start going, okay, food suppliers. What food suppliers are in my town or around my town? And you go to Google and you start looking them up, and you go, oh shit, there's 4 different places that do wholesale food stuff. Now you've got to do research. Do they use photography? You're going to find out that some of them do, and some of them probably don't. But once you know who does, you've gone from asking the question, where do I find these? And now your answer is Bob Smith at Echo Food Distributing, Sacramento. Do you know how empowering that is? That's just real, man. That's just real. So.
All right.
Yep. Other questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a little information that I use Google spreadsheets to calculate my prices. That has worked out really well for me. You mentioned putting your prices in print, and just to kind of avoid errors and making sure that that you're priced fairly. So I put my entire price list on spreadsheets, and through the spreadsheet, I created a worksheet where I can just plug in with a drag and drop list. I can punch in all the criteria, and it'll spit out a number for me.
There you go.
And I can crunch numbers very easily in that respect. It works
There you
beautifully.
go. But you got to do your research up front. For instance, let's say you get called tomorrow for a job that's going to require a high-end retoucher. Do you know one right now?
Yes, I do.
There you go. You've got your number, right?
Yes.
You know what that's going to cost. If you don't have that number, you're going to have to spend an hour to 2 days looking for a high-end retoucher that you can work with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you've got to get all of those things up front, get them into a spreadsheet like you do. I love that idea. I recommend that you have a template made up that has all of the types of expenses that you would normally incur on a big job. Have that done so that you don't forget ground transportation, that you don't forget meals. Because I've seen people just go, oh crap, I forgot to put in for the assistant. Well, it's kind of too late now.
Yeah.
And to bid the job.
Yeah, I think I have most of the big ones. I'm sure there's some little stuff that I've forgotten.
And you're always going
But
to
I add
add
'em.
stuff. You're always going to
I
add
add them as
Yep. Well, that comes from making sure that you have a long and fruitful discussion with a client. So that
Exactly.
you're on the same page of what they want. Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Awesome. Hey, thanks for coming out on a random Tuesday here. Appreciate it. And I will let you go. Everybody have a great week. And I'll see you next time.
All right, Don, thank you.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Don. Take care.
Bye.